Welcome to In the Know and Black Girl podcast presents Enter the Chat, a special video series that looks inside the thoughts that go on inside of our group chat. We have a very special guest who's going to introduce herself in a moment, but we are talking about body positivity. We haven't really gone too much into that before, so we're super excited. Live from our living rooms, we're about to hop right into the conversation. But first, I want to let our special guest introduce herself. Hello, Simone.
Ladies.
Hi,
Simone. So excited to be here. I love each and every one of you. So thank you for having me on. My name is Simone. I am the host of Bonnets and Durags, a Pillow Talk podcast, where we have open and intimate conversations with millennials of color. I also am a full-time marketing manager and a number one Black Girl podcast fan. So.
She said she's a number one fan. I love it.
Here at the pack. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. So we wanted to include one of our supporters, one of our listeners in the conversation because, you know, everyone has always asked to be a part of our conversation. So we're going to throw it to you today to just ask away.
Oh, for sure. So the first question I have is, at what age did you find yourself attractive?
Ooh, you started strong, baby girl.
Good question. That's a good question.
Oh.
Very good question. What age?
Attractive. What is the definition of attractive?
Come on, Rebecca, hit us with a good word.
Jesus.
Dang, you put sis on the spot like she's the encyclopedia.
She said, come on, Google.
A genuine, thorough, efficient like of self. Appreciation of self.
Oxford Dictionary says appealing to look at sexually, sexually, or colon sexually, of a thing pleasing or appealing to the senses, having beneficial qualities or features that induce someone to accept what is being offered.
Okay, now.
Accept what is being offered.
The example sentence was the site is close to the high rent district, which could make it attractive to developers. So like when it's general, like that's an attractive offer, like not sexually. I think I felt attractive at for the first time at 13. 13 is when I first felt attractive. You remember that song, Life Jennings' song, SEX? Remember that song?
Yes.
Remember how they used to talk about when you first came into your body? Like when you noticed you started to get attention from men and you were like, what is this? This is nasty. Like what? But then you were like, wait, I guess I am attractive. I didn't know how to own it then, but I knew that there was an attraction about me. Like I started to be like, you know, your aunties start to be like, oh, you getting your little booty. Oh, you getting your little, you got a cute shape. Like, I think at that age, that's when I started to notice that I was attractive to other people. When I felt attracted to myself,
there we go.
Child, we still working on it. I'm
there we go.
Like, to be honest, like I think, sure, I'm beautiful, attractive to myself. We getting there. We are getting there. I think as we go along in body positivity conversation, we can talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, I'm still learning to be 100% like, ooh, you're attractive.
When you initially asked, I was going to say I didn't feel attractive until I turned 30. I feel like and that was last year. And I feel like turning 30 took on so many different levels of new things for me, that new attractions unlocked. You know, things that I didn't know about myself were there before, unlocked at 30 for me. Like, oh, girl, did you know you could still do that? Like stuff like that. I mean, it's silly, but I guess like Gia, when I was 13 is when I first started going to get my hair blown out. And this is not really body positivity, but it has to do with, you know, Black hair and how we are raised. My mother always braided my hair. So 13, I'm about to get my hair blown out and my eyebrows done.
I was
Gotta
just
point that
the
out too.
brow.
Yeah.
Walking around with one hair.
13?
Thinking of
Because
a
let me
list.
tell you who's Haitian, has a unibrow. It's me. Okay? Nah, but I think like at 13 is when I was like, oh wow, you could get your eyebrows done. Your hair could really fall down your back. Like, okay, sis. But then that faded through the teenage years. And I really, really do not like until I turned 30 and started really doing soul searching and really again unlocking the things that were there before that had not discovered. I am sexy. That there's a meme that I can't remember the rapper's name. She's talking about divine feminine energy. Child, I wake up feeling like that.
Nokia.
Even when my
Nokia.
back, Princess Nokia, yes. Even when my back is on fire, like an 85-year-old grandma, I still wake up with divine feminine energy.
I
Promise you.
You definitely have that divine feminine energy for sure.
Thank you.
I'm gonna just be honest. I'm still very much working on what that is for myself. And I can't even front and be like, yeah, some days I feel myself and some days, it's up and down. I literally think I'm living in a place where I'm just like, I really don't know yet like how to embrace my attractiveness or embrace the way that I look. And I think, I'm hitting a point to echo kind of Saphira's sentiments where I'm just like accepting parts of me or not even seeing parts of my body that used to stress me out so much. I appreciate the fact that my body can even move. I appreciate that I can breathe in and out on my own because I see so many people just don't have those abilities anymore. And a lot of my idea of attractiveness came from like outside, validation, especially from men. And I was in a relationship where back in college, I thought I was the and I was in a relationship that really humbled me, humbled me down to the point where I didn't want to celebrate the way that my body looked. I wanted to cover it up. I would always like counter somebody's compliments with like, yeah, but to kind of like, I don't know who make comfortable. But because of like that mental warfare involved with like the way that I see myself, it's been a while and I'm still on that journey of like really defining my attractiveness in a solid way that isn't rocked by anything because it comes from me direct. And it's a process and days I'm there and other days I'm not. But it has lasting staying power these days, more so than in the past. But I don't know, I feel like my attraction comes from inward out because I just don't place too much value on what I look like. I place a lot of value on what I feel like to people or how I make them feel. So that like, because I could look great every day, but then like if I don't leave impressions on people that make me proud, I'm not attractive to me. And I think that's healthy because that's still a definition that I'm carrying for myself. Um, and I'm building that every day, still every day. And it's not a struggle; it's a beautiful build. I'll say that. Um, but it's a build, and I think one day I'm going to reach a point where I get to it, and it's not a question or a conversation anymore. It's an acceptance I have, a full acceptance that I have, and I'm looking forward to that day. I think it's coming sooner than later. But attractiveness is like it's a conversation with some that I've been enjoying but I'm still having it. Very much so. I'm still having it.
That was a word.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking.
I'm really thinking, well, this is a lot of reflection happening because I think when around 29, 30, I did start to say, y'all gonna get this body. Y'all gonna get this face. Y'all just gonna get whatever I give you and you will be fine with it because I've been fine with it. And if you have an issue with it, you can easily see the door. The exit is right there. But of course, I have tons of moments. I am overly critical of how I look. Overly. I've always been. I think colorism has something to do with it. I think, me being a full figured woman has something to do with it. So, I think I really am learning to define what attractive is for me. And that's the best I can do. Because I think most of our lives, we have done what others has defined it as. And he sees me as cute because I got a big butt, or he thinks I'm cute because I have big tits, or he thinks I'm cute because I have a cute face, or whatever it is. What do I deem cute? What do I deem attractive? You know what I'm saying? What is the problem? Why can't I see what they see? Which all goes into me going to therapy and figuring that out. I used to break out in hives last year about how I looked because I want to be perfect. I want to be this person that I think I'm capable of being, but I probably already am. So I think, I hold myself up to a high expectation mostly I think because one, daddy issues, two, because of colorism.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback off of you, Deani, and this is literally the last maybe 5 therapy sessions that I've had. I actually have therapy tonight. And the last 5 therapy sessions has been me unpacking the identity of what attractiveness and beauty looks like from parental to boyfriend to social media to television. I am actively unlearning all of those norms of what beauty is. And I honestly would say the first time I 100% felt attractive was probably 2 weeks ago when I walked past myself in the mirror and I was like, oh, you kind of cute. That was the first time I said it, felt it, and meant it. And I was like, okay, that was new. I remember in my very first therapy session, my therapist asked me to hold my hand to my heart and say, I love you, you are beautiful. And I literally went like this. I cringed immediately and I was like, what the was that? Like, I never ever got to have myself, like someone outside of me say that out loud to me to say to myself, if that makes any sense. So it was very uncomfortable. So the fact that I was able to walk past that mirror and say it comfortably and not cringe, I would have to authentically say that was possibly the first time that I ever felt attractive. And Safira, you said getting your eyebrows done, and I was racing through my mind like experiences where I felt beautiful, and it all had to do with something that I changed within my body. So whether it was losing weight, whether it was getting my eyebrows done, whether it was perming or straightening my hair, whether it was getting an extension that was 30 inches long, it all had to do with something changing my body to conform to another norm. So I have been living in the purpose of just naturally being me. So if I am having huge natural hair, it's just going to have to be big and natural, and I'm just going to have to love it. And I have been really finding joy in that. So I would
and
say
it's so much freedom.
Yeah.
It's so much freedom in that, I think we've talked about this, like cutting our hair, letting your hair grow wild, not touching your hair. Even before, we started with this, we talking about edges. I don't always have my edges slicked up like this. And I know Bex is always like, I don't know how you hold on to your edges, but I know something that I have learned from my mother that I do cherish is like, leave well enough alone. Like if you don't have to touch it, you don't have to touch it. It's just been instilled, like you're still beautiful with bushy edges or slick edges. So having that mentality, that's just how I've always moved, especially with hair. And y'all see makeup too. I could go with or without that shit.
There's like this component attached to beauty and attractiveness. And it made me so someone had said something to me years ago, and it was, if you live off their compliments, you'll die off their criticism. And it's the fact that, like, if you allow somebody's perception of you to invest so much into your bank of beauty that's just the definition of it, it's a problem. And then without even knowing it, you have this fear of like that rug being pulled up from under you because it's not something that you held on to yourself or defined yourself from yourself. So it's always jeopardy of somebody like ripping it from you and therefore ripping the identity of whatever beauty is. And even now, it's trying to work through that, even though it's not in anybody else's possession to define beauty. I mean, personally speaking, it's still like this fear attached with that. One day somebody's gonna like say something to me, and it's just gonna change the view of everything like from that point. And I'm just gonna look at myself differently. And I'm just like, why am I so afraid of like just claiming sometimes that I look good? That I look good.
That is
like,
hard.
Fear. So it's like, I think that's the journey, is like trying to tackle that fear. No, nobody can take it from me once I shit myself. And I think that's like that's the journey of like building the strength of beauty.
Yes.
Attractiveness.
And I also wonder how much of like humility has crippled how women show up as their full, beautiful, sexy selves, because especially as in our community, Black women are told to be more humble and told to be chill, especially not from within ourselves. Like within ourselves, we're like, go girl, you better do it. We are the gang for turning up for every other woman outside of ourselves. But when it comes to even, I hate to say it, Black men, like when it comes to even just other generations of women, people are always like, oh, you need to be a little more humble with that. You need to not zoo all that. You zooing too much. And it's like, how much of that have we internalized as well? Like there have been so many instances where we've seen women who went through a glow up transformation, and then all of a sudden those same people that put her on that pedestal also tear her down. And so I think sometimes people get like, oh, you know, let me just stay here because at least they won't notice me. As someone who has stayed somewhere and people will still try you, you're not even missing anything. Like my little sister is, for me, like the captain of that. Like that tribe, Solange, like all of those women who are like, today I feel like twerking for 28 seconds to a trap beat and I feel like posting it. And you're going to get that. And Merry Christmas. Oh, I haven't posted in 16 months. You're going to love it. Thank you.
And that's
like,
it.
Love it.
That's period.
I mean, even you right now, Gia, what you're doing, wearing this red lip, these red nails. How many times have we been told we can't walk into places with a red lip? Red nails make you look too harlot or whatever the sayings are. But you killing it.
This is true.
I mean, and it's crazy. Sorry, it's crazy because this also bleeds into like diversity and inclusion and like us being Black and brown in certain spaces and living loud through, you know.
Yep.
But it should all be celebration. We should all be celebrating ourselves. Like it should literally be a celebration of curves, of looks, of eyes, of skin color, texture, hair. Like why not be joyous in it? It's what you have. It holds you down. You know what I mean? You got it. Celebrate.
Why not be joyous in it? That's it.
I got it. Can I ask a follow-up question to Simone's incredible question?
Yes.
When did you feel your body was beautiful? Have you owned your body? How does that? And Simone, I would love your point of view on this too. We're not about to just sit here and have you not say nothing else, child, so we can get back into it. But I want to know how people feel about their bodies, especially in 2020, when you can walk down the street and get something added or taken away in 2 seconds. Like, how do you all feel about your bodies and your body type?
I ain't got it. Because my body type is not the standard body type to be idolized and loved on. So I don't have it. I'm not there. That's why I'm very surprised. I walked past that mirror the other day and was like, oh, that looks okay.
Alicia, do not say that. No, every body type is the standard body type to be loved on. We are not.
No. But it's not the body type that's standard. Like that's standard that people love on. It's not.
Oh, that's what you're saying. I'm like, the way you said it was just very devastating. I'm like,
no. That's what it is. That's exactly
right. Share your truth.
Share your truth. Okay. Yeah, for me, it's when I scroll on social media, there's no one that looks like me that people and men or women are like, oh my God, her body is beautiful. I don't identify to anyone on social media like that. So for me, especially with social media. And Safira, we had a episode podcast where we talked about this, Unfiltered, where we felt, we had to own our gorgeousness with our voluptuousness up top. So, even with that, I'm still trying to love on that, because that changes every year. That body part, does whatever it wants, however it wants every year. Stretch marks in places that I know aren't attractive to most men or to females. So it scares me sometimes. It even scares me to want to have a baby, because I don't want to be completely gone from what the ideas of beauty is, because then I would have to rework on everything that I have been learning in the last 2 years of therapy. And I just don't know if mentally I'm prepared for all of that. So that's just, to answer your question, Gia, I ain't got it. I'm not there yet.
I say this with my whole ass chest. Like, I don't have it, like Alicia says. There is no, like, right now, I have moments where I'm like, that ass looking right today. But to stand in front of the mirror and truly and like say to myself, girl, yes, you look beautiful, I can't do that. I'll cringe, because I will still nitpick at things that I want to change. Y'all don't know how many times I have looked up liposuction on my, trying to see how much it costs, in different states, because it's cheaper at other places. I'm looking at different places in Brooklyn. I'm like, okay, if I do get it done, like, I really do the pros and cons of doing it, because I think that it would make me feel better. And I have to always feel, like, am I doing this for them or am I doing it for me? And I think I would be doing it for me if I do have a kid. And I think about that all the time. I get so scared. After that kid, what's happening? What's going to happen? I don't know how my body's going to take it. And also, I look up the mommy makeovers that people be doing. And I'd be like, you know what? I'm down, and I don't have there's some shame going on with surgery. And, when we talk about body positivity, I want to get this straight. It's anybody. It's all bodies. It's not just the bodies that are natural. It's the bodies that are under the knife as well. And what pains me to see is that this body positivity thing is going in a direction where, when big girls post a picture, they say, "Oh, you're so brave," and that pisses me off, because it's like, I'm brave for showing this is my body, bro. How am I so brave? You know what I'm saying? What is brave about that? This is my body. So, I want to make sure when we're talking about body positivity, we're talking about the ones that changed their body too, that wasn't happy about the things that we're seeing and did it for themselves and not for others. I don't want to have to live with cellulite because all the Hotep said I need to keep it because it's natural. No, I don't want the Hotep.
But I think you just really hit on something that is the most important part of the body positivity conversation. It's what you do to make yourself feel better about yourself, because that's where it starts. Like, we've all heard it before. You can't, whatever happens on the inside has to work on the outside. Yeah. You have to be just as beautiful as a person and feel just as beautiful of a person as you feel on the outside. I'm a firm believer in that. I mean, like, I have a lot of things that are going on right now in this weight loss journey that have not really adjusted in the way that I've liked. And I hate it, but I accept it because it's on my body. And if I don't talk to myself in a certain way, if I don't speak life or just in general, it's not going to change. Right. So while I don't necessarily agree with nipping and tucking, the thought has definitely crossed my mind several times, because it's like Deanna just said, it's my body, it's on me. Might as well pick these things up. All in all, I think that is the main point. Like I was saying, Deanna, it starts from within. How you feel is connected to how you're going to look, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Even if you go to the doctor.
That's what I'm saying. You got to take spiritual inventory. You got to know, truly, if I get this done, will I feel better about me? will I not seek validation from other people? Because if you're building your self-esteem based on others' validation, your foundation is going to crumble. There is no foundation.
And that's exactly where I was about to go. And I think for my personal thing with surgery is feeling like, I don't want to say most women, some women are making these selective choices for other people, for their men, for society, to post a picture on Instagram to get 1,000 likes. And that is the problem. That is my problem.
Can you blame them? Is my
No. I
it's
can't.
like, because
No, I can't, because again, social media, society has made it hard for them to, but that is the problem. That is the conversation. That is what we have to tackle. That is why therapy and self-love is so important. And that is why we have to be very careful when we make these decisions and really tap into self to get that answer.
Can I also, I just wanted to make a point too. I feel like we have to be the generation to shift this conversation for our kids, because I know if y'all got together with your families this holiday season, you've also experienced people being like, "Oh, girl, you gained a little weight. You look up. What's going on?" Or like if you've lost a lot of weight, it doesn't matter, whatever spectrum. Black parents, Black family members, and I know half the time they don't mean any harm by it. But I think that there's an opportunity for us to be able to have these conversations with our children and our children's children, so we can break that. Because what our Black parents, aunts, uncles don't realize is that it's detrimental to us. It's detrimental to our confidence. It's detrimental to just how we feel about ourselves in general. And then we go out into this world and project that too. Like it's a great thing in a Black household and in a Black community. Oh, girl, you put on some weight, you know. So
it's this cycle of shame. I don't understand why that, especially like not especially because I'm not of the other cultures, but in the Haitian culture, sex is shameful. It is not a conversation. You don't discuss it. There's no birds and the bees. There's no, this is how you X, Y, and Z once you become a woman. Like that conversation is, if they even happen, far and few. And I was at my sister's house this Thanksgiving, because you brought that up, after seeing family. And I'm like, I'm seeing my toddler nephews like completely naked because they're potty training, but like free, because they don't know what sexuality and body positivity and all of that means. And I'm noticing that, like, as you said, it is going to be us, our generation, the parents that allow allow the youth that come after us to be free in their bodies. Just completely free, and introduce no shame about it, because there's just no space for shame. And that's like, I don't understand why in Haitian culture that is the case. It's just shunned. But I know Alicia's like shaking her head, because it's something. And that's something, even in this road to body positivity and feeling attractive, I'm shaking shame, because that's where it comes from. I'm like, why does this exist in my bones? You know what I mean? But it is
even if
shame.
Even when my mom jokes about, like, you know, your brother and y'all messed up my body. That to me makes me, I know it's jokes, but sometimes she ain't joking. She telling the truth. She'll be like, yeah, you didn't mess up my body, but when your brother came, that was it. And, you know, she'll say some really cool stuff too, that'll be like, you know, take pictures of your body. You ain't got to share them with everybody, but celebrate the body that you have, because sometimes it may modify, it may change, and it'll take a little bit more time to love that body. And when you do find love for that body, take some more pictures, because make sure you have the evolution of womanhood in a box somewhere where you can show yourself, look how much I've grown, look at the grown woman I am, you know. But because of that birth, you know, her having the kids and her, you know, saying, girl, you know, my body was top notch, and I think her body's great now, but, you know, my mom also suffers from certain insecurities like anybody else. So that's what makes me very scared about having kids. So yes, we do need to change the conversation too. Even though it is joking, I know she's telling the truth somewhere. It's her truth.
I would wonder how I would how I would differently and intentionally raise my daughter to see her body as beautiful and not as something to be scared that someone will take advantage of. Because I think a lot of my raising was beautiful and incredible, but there was that aspect of it that was like, if you go somewhere and somebody touches you and touches you in your body parts, you tell me, because they're not supposed to do that, and that they can hurt you and that's going to harm you. And so I grew up honestly feeling like, let me be as covered up as possible, because if not, something's going to happen to me. And so even shaking that, and then it didn't help that like Law and Order SVU became one of my favorite shows. So shaking that, like, and moving to New York and seeing where Mariska and them be at, like, I was like, ooh, that's the stop. That's the stop where they do the, you know. But no, in all seriousness, like, I am learning to realize that my body is my own, and it's not anybody else's tool for. It's not something I should be scared of. It's not something that I should allow other people to define for me. My body is my own, and it should be celebrated, whether I'm 10 pounds off my whatever BMI or my average weight, or 10 pounds below. Like, it's mine. I love it. And I can own that. And that's something that, like Beck said, I'm working to get to, like seeing my body as my own.
I love that. Take a photo of yourself, which your mother said, Diani. I think everyone who's listening to this episode, which will be a lot of people,
right?
Period,
should take a photo of themselves.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
You don't have to share it. Just keep it for you, and show evolution, show growth. Growth is beautiful. It is a blessing, seriously, to celebrate womanhood. It is.
I would also say, to retweet some, like what Rebecca was mentioning, take a photo of yourself and find a photo that is printable and print it and put it up and honor that person every day.
Yes.
A beautiful photo of yourself where you feel your most high self. Print it. I noticed that in my house, I have no pictures of myself. Yes. And that is something that I have to change, because I have to see, just like I see this art behind me, and the art in all of your places is beautiful, that I am just as beautiful as that art.
Art girl.
Print that.
Yes. You love yourself.
Have your art.
Some art picture, girl.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I do. I think that's very important to have. There are 2 pictures of me that I haven't put up yet, but I have to remind myself that I'm worthy. You know, I'm deserving. And I am that. I'm of the cloth. You hear me?
Yeah, the crop. Okay.
Of that cloth.
Well, we want to thank Simone for joining us today and for the wonderful questions. This was a great conversation. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for joining In the Know and Black Girl Podcast. Enter the chat. You can follow us on all of our social platforms, like @BlackGirlPod. And you can also find more episodes and all of this amazing Black art on intheknow.com. I'm Safira M.
I'm Scotty Beam.
I'm Bex Francois.
I'm Gia Peppers.
And I'm Alicia P.